Hi guys, it's an invasion by now. I'm talking about all these posts on social media dispensing advice on how to break into cybersecurity. Everybody writes about it, even people who have no clue about that, who don't actually work in cybersecurity. You know my take on that? Stand up comedy. They're ridiculous. They give a bunch of wrong advice and you people shouldn't follow them. That's what prompted me to write about it and talk about it, as I've been working as a consultant in information security for 8 years right now. And as of right now, I'm working for a global corporation, one of the most important actors on the cybersecurity scene. So I believe it's necessary for somebody to step up and tell the truth about all this bunch of BS, because it's a bunch of BS. You constantly read about all these miraculous boot camps or certifications or trainings or whatever that would transform you from an unskilled person to a ninja penetration tester in 6 months or whatever it is. And the worst side of all this is they charge you thousands of dollars to pursue this dream. I find it really questionable and deeply immoral to take advantage of fresh grads or people who don't know any better, preying on their dreams and their hopes. And anyway, somebody should question, why are you charging me thousands of dollars when there are other companies, other actors in the industry who demand a much more reasonable price for pretty much the same content, and when at the end of the day you can find very often the same content for free on YouTube. Why would I spend thousands of dollars for that? If you didn't consider all this so far, you should. It's ridiculous, and it must stop. The reasoning certification equals pen testing gig is totally wrong. For example, I don't have a SCP. I spent thousands of dollars trying to achieve it, which caused me only frustration and didn't help me at all. I don't deny that the training can be valuable, but not for thousands of dollars that they charge me. Sometimes it can be useful, maybe train for a certification, but I don't see a big difference in having the cert per se, other than to impress the HR when interviewing for a potential employer. Anyway, my opinion, instead of wasting money on certifications or college degrees, you better have an experience as desktop support or sysadmin wherever you can have it, even as a student worker somewhere like in a community college, because that's much more valuable. It shows you can do real work, and over this type of experience you need to learn how to deal with clients, and especially difficult ones, which is a very important skill to have as a consultant when you work in InfoSec. Yeah, because nobody broke it to you. It's not about fun and stuff all the time. Every project you lead any pen test you run ends up with a report that you have to deliver to the client, and oftentimes you need to discuss it with the client in a debrief call, sometimes before the whole client team. I recently had to deliver something like that with the 30 plus person team. It can be really a very scary experience. It made me really nervous as shit. Nonetheless, you gotta do it. And I'm proud to say I did a good job. Recognized by the others, not by me. Then consider this. All this post saying we have a skill shortage and we need thousands of professionals in the next few years because all these roles go unfilled always come from certification entities like Ethical Council, Offensive Security, SANS, and so on and so forth. How convenient, really. That's a bunch of crap. First of all, the reason why roles go unfilled is because there's no really entry-level jobs in cybersecurity. You need to have at least some type of experience to start out in cybersecurity. Most people think they can start out with a certification, be it ICP, PMPT, or whatever it is, and get a pen testing gig. Well, that's delusional. Because at the end of the day, information security falls within IT in general. It's a specific branch of IT. So if you don't know foundational IT, like networking protocols or operating systems, stuff like this, you can't even think of getting started in cybersecurity. You first learn the basics and then move to the most important stuff, not vice versa. Alright, a bunch of people think they can go from zero to hero over a boot camp, maybe in 6 months, which is clearly a bunch of crap. And then why should you pay thousands of dollars when you can find the same kind of training for much cheaper costs or even for free on YouTube? Tell me why. And then why should the training allow you to break into the industry compared with millions probably of people who want to do that? What do you have more than those that can differentiate you? People don't ask themselves this type of questions, but they should. So I would say don't fall for this BS. These are scams. I don't deny the value of training per se. You need to stay current, and training helps you develop new skills. That's paramount. You need to do that. But you don't need to believe their advertisements that they guarantee you a future in cybersecurity, because that's a bunch of crap. Nobody knows what the future may bring. First of all, the industry isn't thriving anymore, and things don't look very good. In fact, they look grim now. Why? AI. We don't need so many penetration testers, especially junior or entry level, inexperienced people anyway. The low level stuff can be widely automated through AI, Anyway, you don't need AI or even a human to sell an access report as a penetration test. So we don't need so many penetration testers. As a result of that, most companies want to do more with less and want to cut costs as much as possible. So they don't hire. They fire people, they don't replace them. Actually, it's pretty scary. You see professionals with a very solid background getting let go anyway, losing their jobs. And then after 7, 8 months, you still see them on LinkedIn looking for a job and then find a new role. Sometimes they don't even get an interview, which is ridiculous. I mean, why? Because of AI. A seasoned professional is more expensive than AI at the end of the day. However, that doesn't have to lead to catastrophic reasoning thinking, oh, penetration testing is over, penetration testers are no longer needed, because that's not true. It depends on what type of penetration tester. First of all, I'm a consultant, I'm client facing. If you're not client facing, you don't make a real difference. Second of all, why do I keep working in this industry? And why so far? Thank God. And let's hope it continues like that. I'm still keeping my job. Because I deliver stuff that security scanners cannot. I detect vulnerabilities they miss. It was pretty funny some time ago, very recently. I had a client say that I deserved double my wage because I was the only one who found a vulnerability that had gone undetected for years. Seriously, I thought. The only thing I did was to run a specific tool that did the work. So it wasn't completely my doing, only a matter of being more resilient and more persistent, not getting satisfied with what I found at the first sight, but digging deeper. That's the difference. That's where you can make a difference, and that's where you can keep your job. Delivering quality work. If you can dig deeper and find stuff that clients can appreciate, kind of like a major vulnerability like that, that was a critical finding at the end of the day, you can make a difference. What was really scary was not that I found this vulnerability, but that nobody found it before for years. All I did was run in a tool. We show you that most people don't even try. They don't even bother digging deeper, which means we're failing as an industry. We don't deliver value to the client. This is concerning. Alright, let's move on. So you need to have an impact this way. And another way you can make yourself valuable is being trainable and being comfortable embracing the uncomfortable, which means you need to be able to learn on the spot when needed. For example, I had to deliver an invasive spear phishing engagement to a client, never did that before, in a matter of days. So I had to learn how to do it from scratch. And that's where you got to step up, where excuses are not going to cut it. Because you got to deliver. The client expects you to get the job done. You got to find a way. And I did it. I delivered it. And that's only an example. That happened to me with other stuff, other types of engagements I didn't do before. The more you learn, the more valuable you are as a consultant. If you can't step out of your comfort zone, you're never going to grow. You're going to be very limited. At the end of the day, you're going to lose your job. I guarantee you. I don't want to lose my job. God knows what's going to happen then. Anyway, another important skill to have is to leverage AI to get better at what you do and automate boring stuff. Especially learn how to hack prompts, because that's something that's becoming the cutting edge threat right now. Anyway, long story short, my suggestions are: don't fall for boot camps and certification charging you thousands of dollars. Go for any type of experience in IT that can teach you technical and soft skills. Be ready to learn anything you can and be a fast learner. Don't be afraid to dig deeper and to embrace the uncomfortable. And be okay with it. I hope that can help. Please let me know your feedback. Bye bye.